Good evening. It's my name's Richard, and this is the Arsenal review. Lots to get through tonight. Obviously, we're going to look back at the Southampton game on Friday. Quite a lot happened in that game, didn't it? So we'll look at that. We will also look ahead, of course, to a rather big game on Wednesday night away at Manchester City. We'll look into that one as well. One or two other bits and bobs in the news of Arsenal as well, which we'll touch on. And also, we've got a big question for tonight, and that is, would finishing second this season be a failure in the circumstance of the season? So we'll talk about that as well. All coming up the other side of this. And joining us is Melvin. Neil's coming in as well. He was just in and he's dropped out again for some reason. I'm not sure what he's doing, but anyway, Neil will be back in a minute. But Melvin's with us as always. How you doing, Melvin? You okay this week?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Fine, yeah. You all right, Richard? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Looking forward to the show. Lots to get through, as we said before. Lots it's happening in the world of Arsenal, doesn't it? And especially in the last few days in particular. Lots is going on, lots has gone on. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. And hopefully Neil will be back with us very shortly. But the only place we can start, really, I suppose, is rewinding to Friday evening and a rather eventful game at the Emirates. Now, I mean, it's difficult to know where to start on this game because it had a little bit of a vibe of Bournemouth about it, conceding so early in the game. This time, we ended up going 3-1 behind, and we did come back and get that late draw. But, I personally believe that if you want to win the league, you're playing a bottom of the league team at home in the running. You have to beat them. Simple as that. It doesn't matter how you beat them. You have to win that game. Manchester City would not be dropping points home to Southampton at this point in the season, and we can't afford to either. But unfortunately, due to various reasons on the night, mistakes, and we've seen another 2 points slip away. That's 6 points in the last 3 games, which is equivalent to losing 2 of them games, isn't it? We look at the points that we've dropped. We haven't lost any of them, but we might as well have lost 2 of them and 1-1. We'd have had the same points that we've got now. So, yeah, I don't know what's going wrong at the minute. We can't keep goals out. We're conceding too many goals. I don't know. It's not quite happening for us long enough in games. We played well in spells against Southampton. We had some good spells in the game, but ultimately, I say at home to the bottom of the league team, you have to win. And unfortunately, we wasn't able to. Neil's back with us now. Here we go. Good to see you. Thought your connection had gone or something, but you're back now, which is good.
Thanks. It was the camera. The camera wasn't working for some reason, so. It's not a bad thing if you don't see my face, to be fair, but
No. We need to see your face on the screen. It makes for a better show. But yeah, obviously, I say it was really, really frustrating night in the end, and we've lost another 2 points, which could prove to be really, really crucial come the end of the season. I mean, Melvin, what did you make of that Friday? Because so many things happened in that game. From a neutral perspective, it was probably one of the games of the season, probably. But from our perspective, not quite so much so because, as I said, we needed to win and we wasn't quite on the night, wasn't quite good enough to get the 3 points. What do you think's going wrong at the minute? Why do you think we're throwing away games that we should be winning?
We'll talk about generally the last three games. I think we dropped points the last 3 games because I don't think our energy levels are up to what it used to be. I think that we start off okay. I mean, not talking about Friday night, that's another kettle of fish. But against West Ham and Liverpool, we started off very, very well. We looked like away at Bournemouth, was it? Away at Fulham, away at Brentford, away at Crystal Palace. When we were in total control, and as the game went on, you could see the opposition just actually giving up. And we kept it on. We kept on and on and on. The first 2 games away from home, again, we started very, very well. And all of a sudden, we seem to run out of petrol. Now, I don't know why that is. It might be that something that you said ages ago, Richard, that we don't change our players enough because we hasn't got enough trust in the reserves. That might be it. But you're playing people one after the other. Also, a big loss is Saliba because he's more than just a defender. He actually is our best midfield player to a degree. He gets it going. He actually dictates the tempo of the game from the back. That's how good he is. We miss that. It's a number of things. But let's just talk about the Southampton game. you can be critical about players at Arsenal without people calling you negative. It's very difficult because if you are critical, everyone wants to say you're a negative person. I love the Arsenal. I love them all my life. I want them to do well. I think I'm honest when I'm talking about Arsenal. And when I criticise players or the team or the manager, I do it because I want to see them do better.
It comes from the heart, Mel. It comes from the heart, doesn't it? It comes from the heart. Where it comes from.
What I'm going to say doesn't change my view on the players necessarily. It's just what I've noticed recently. During the season, I've noticed Ramsdale, every game, will do a stupid kick. Now, it might be people go, well, you know what? He's got away with it. And how many goals have we scored because of it? How much pressure have we put on the opposition because of it? How many times have the opposition have been out of the right positions? Fine. But however many times he's done it and got away with it, and he's been lucky at certain times, the other night, he made the type of decision that you can never let him off for. It was the most amateurish, weak-fixed goalkeeper decision I've seen. In the first minute of a game or the 90th minute, you do not do that. He had 2 green lights showing at the traffic lights, and he went through red, in my opinion. It was ridiculous. And I'll tell you something. I know other people have said it, but I said it on the night of my son, Craig. I said, what? He has set the tone for the rest of the game. I'm not saying we would have won or we would have played better, but we might have done. The mindset, all of a sudden, there was jitters. There was doubt. You could see it in the players, the body language. And I'm not saying they wouldn't have had that anyway, but him doing that put the nail in it. And he has got to take a lot of responsibility. I don't care about a huddle. I don't care if they put their arm around him. I wanted someone to put their arm around me after that first goal.
I think we all did, Melvin.
Yeah. So I am digging him out. But listen, he's been a great goalkeeper for us all season. He's made his mistake. He's got away with it. All I want to see him do now, and he should have done it before because he has made these mistakes, is learn. That, was it flashness? I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't. Was it a lack of concentration? It shouldn't have been because, as I say, he had other opportunities. So where does that come into it? Is it just laziness and thinking, well, I've done it. If it goes wrong, I'll probably save it or defenders are covered for me. He's got to get that out of his game. I don't care. He's got to get that out of his game. With the rest of the team, I don't. Let's just mention Holding. I don't blame him for anything. He doesn't pick the team. He's there to defend. There's no Saliba because he does. They gave him too much of the ball, the Arsenal players, for some reason. They thought they called him Bobby, didn't they? Some people they nicknamed him Bobby. They thought it was Bobby Beckenbauer, didn't they? The way they were giving him the ball. He was giving it like, oh look, I'll push it over there. No, he's there to head the ball away and kick it away and tackle. I don't want to see him pretend he's a footballer like a midfielder, Pirlo. He's there to do one job. You've got one job, mate. In fact, it's like seeing the goalkeeper head the ball. No, don't do that, mate. You're there, you've got hands, catch it. And that's with Holding. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the situation. And it gets back to the old thing where we had a lot. He's done so well, Arteta, getting rid of so much dross. But I've said it before. If you have a player that is not good enough for your first team and you've got him in the squad, at some stage, you might have to rely on him. And that's exactly where we find ourselves. Right? Yes, you can have goes and things at other little players, and I won't do because it sounds like I'm a misery guts. But it's just the facts of why we're not. We could be easily 10 points clear. We could be 10 points clear. And going into this game, we'll be going, you know what? If we get beat, it's going to be hard, but it's not over. Now, if they beat us, it's good night, Vienna. Let's face it. We'll talk about it later, obviously. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Southampton game. I thought that also what we don't learn from, we used to be the best team defending a corner this season, the first start. Now we're the worst, probably. Every time the team gets the corner, your heart's in your mouth. And that geezer, he could have had a cup of tea when he headed it in. There was no one within 6 yards of it. Honestly, could have had a cup of tea. Oh, it's coming over, bang. All he had to do was say good morning to the ball. That's all he had to do. Good morning, and it's a goal. Where was our back post players? Everyone scrunched up at the near post. What's that all about? What's the coach doing? Is he on the coach? I mean, what is going on? I couldn't believe it. We've seen so many us give away so many goals from corners. I want to see, and I am digging him out, but perhaps he's been told to do it. I want to see our goalkeeper command the 6-yard box from a corner. I don't even stand on the goal line and hopefully give it to our defenders to do a job. He's a goalkeeper. There's a reason he's a goalkeeper, to do a job. Please, someone speak to our goalkeeping coach and tell him you're allowed to come off your line for corners. And also, if the attackers know he ain't coming off his line, how much more confidence does that give them? It gives them so much more confidence to have a go. Anyway, that's my bit. I'm going home. See you.
I mean, it's ironic in a way, isn't it, about Ramsdale, because the goalkeeper that Arteta picked, and the reason why he picked him over Bernd Leno was because of his ability with his feet to kick the ball, and he's made too many mistakes kicking the ball out. We might as well start with Leno, who's a better all-round goalkeeper, who's better at shot stopping, he's better at commanding his box. He's just a better all-round goalkeeper, Leno. And it's just ironic, isn't it, that Ramsdale was preferred because of his ability with his feet, and he goes and kicks the ball straight to Southampton's player after 30 seconds of the game. Just incredible, really, irony.
Sorry to cut butt in, but just while you're talking about that, we've forgotten about Martinez. I mean, at the moment.
Well, yeah, Martinez is no, exactly, yeah. I mean, I can't. There have been so many baffling transfer decisions and team decisions from Arteta since he's been there. And, yes, we're top of the league, so we're not going to, we can't really criticise anything too much, because obviously it's worked to a point. We're top of the league. Of course, it's working, but some things, sometimes I'll scratch my head and think, and then we're coming on to a point that Robert's made in the chat there. He says, I was fuming to see Vieira on the pitch and Trossard on the bench. He says, no, I'll tell you what you're doing. Yes, Holding is not suited, always said it. Even England would not have him. Holding is an open door. I mean, I do feel a little bit, right? And, I think Saliba's a very, very good player. Exceptional he's been. Great season that he's had. But I think the fact that it's Rob Holding that's come in and replaced him means that suddenly Saliba is Maldini, because of the difference in the quality of Holding coming in. And I don't blame Holding. I agree with you, Melvin. I don't think Holding's good enough. He's not good enough for a team challenging for the league title. He's not. Bless him. He's an all right player. He's an average Premier League defender who would be all right at somewhere like Southampton, for example. He'd probably do a good job there, a team like that, right? But that's the biggest issue for me. Saliba missing is a big loss. Of course it is. But if we had someone half decent to step in, we wouldn't really miss Saliba that much. We'd miss him, but not as much. Suddenly it's a big issue because the player that's replacing him is just nowhere near the level that we need. And I like Rob Holding as a guy. He's just not good enough as a footballer on the pitch for what we need at this moment in time, challenging for the title. I said at the start of the season, if Rob Holding and Eddie Nketiah had to play 10, 12 games in the season, that was going to hamper our chances of doing any good, even getting top four. I thought, fair enough, we're going to get top four now. But having those, Eddie Nketiah is not playing now, but he had a spell of games earlier in the season. Rob Holding is now getting a spell of games at a crucial point in the season. And having Rob Holding playing this many games at the crucial time, we saw it last season, we're not going to achieve what we should be achieving. And that's not down to him. He's just not good enough. He shouldn't even be in the team. He shouldn't be in the squad. He should have been sold off a long time ago. When you look at some of the players that we've got rid of, is he any worse? Is he better than the ones we've got rid of? No, he's not. Is he worse than them? Yes, he probably is worse than some of them. So that is not Rob Holding's fault. So we're not blaming Rob Holding for that. He's got to play. We've got no one else. And that's the problem for me. That's one of the reasons why Saliba is now looking like the biggest loss ever. Not necessarily just for Saliba being good. The fact that his replacement just isn't nowhere near the level. And it is a worry and it's a problem. And it's not Rob Holding's fault we didn't beat Southampton. Let's get that straight at all. It isn't. No. As you rightly say, Melvin, as a defender, he's all right. He can head the ball. He's a reasonably good defender. But we know he's not a good enough player for the system that we want to play and the way we want to play and stuff like that as well. But it's not his fault that we didn't beat Southampton. But the fact of the matter is, in the last 3 games that Rob Holding's played, we've conceded more goals than we did probably in the previous 12 games put together when Saliba was playing. So obviously there's a link somewhere there, and that's unfortunately the situation that we're in. But no, I agree. Ramsdale to me is very, very. He's too temperamental as a goalkeeper. You've got to be calm and cool, and you've got to keep you calm. And he doesn't. He loses his concentration a lot. He is prone to these things. I agree with you. He's done it too many times. And yes, he'll make a worldy save out of the blue. He made a great save, didn't he, in the first half? A double save actually, when it was 2-0, and kept us in the game. And then you have to say, right, okay, brilliant. But then he goes and does stupid things as well. And I agree with you. When a corner comes in like that, the goalie should be there, claiming it or punching it away, doing something. Not where was Ramsdale even when that goal went in? I don't even know where he was. if he was just standing in the
I think it was
6-yard
near
box.
post. I think it was near post.
Was he? Well, he was nowhere near where he needed to be, was he? He didn't come and get the ball. He didn't make a claim to get it, did he? He just, it was flicked on. Yeah, I know those flick on at the near post are difficult to defend. We made a whole history of it, didn't we? Back in the day, flick on at the near post, scoring at the far post. It's difficult to defend, but yeah, it's not enough at this moment in time. And at these crucial moments in the season, we can't be doing stuff like that. We can't have players making these basic mistakes that, you just cannot do it at this time of the season. You just can't. I mean, ridiculous. Neil, what did you make of all of that Southampton nonsense then? Because it was, I suppose it was a good game of football to watch from a neutral perspective. Lots of goals, lots of incident, loads of stuff going on, and I suppose an underdog result in a sense. Southampton bottom of the league, Arsenal top, and then minutes away from winning. But really, we've thrown another 2 points away, haven't we? That's 3 times now. We can't keep. How many more points do we need to throw away before we sit here and say that's it? It's gone. The title's done.
It's like we're saying, "Come on, Man City, come take the title from us." No, not good enough. So the way I saw it was definitely another 2 points dropped. I kind of reflected and thought, okay, the Liverpool one, maybe it was a point gain at the end because of the way they destroyed us in the second half. We did well to hang on. West Ham, I don't think there was an excuse. And then Southampton, certainly not. I just can't get my head around it. Now, I can't follow what Melvin has just said because that was absolutely brilliant. But I will just touch on a few things, and I'm sorry if I repeat. The selection, baffled me. Vieira playing, I just didn't understand that at all. Trossard, who's been absolutely magnificent since January, and he's on the bench. My words fail me. He showed what he could do when he came on. He almost got the winner, for goodness sake. And he changed things as soon as he came on.
He did, yeah.
Emil Smith-Rowe, if he's on the bench, he's fit enough to play. And I'm sick of this rubbish. Is he there to make up the numbers or what? Is he just to give a bench a little bit more in name only? It makes me mad. Then I heard someone saying, well, he might not be mentally ready. I'm sorry, I don't care. If he's on the bench, he should be playing. And that's it. End of. So that was another option, another miss. Yes, our team has become very imbalanced. We don't have Saliba, who's been a huge miss. I think that's why Partey, also with the lack of having Xhaka, but I think that's why Partey hasn't been playing well, because before he's always had the comfort of knowing that you've got the Saliba-Gabriel partnership behind him. So then he could be a little bit more confident in what he does. And now that's gone and that's broken, I think that affects him. Holding, I don't have any grudge against, because Holding is playing as good as he can play, and that's it. And Melvin summed it up because he's not. There's some of the names that he's given, Pirlo or Holdinho or whatever. He's not. Again, with all due respect to him, he's good at, as what Melvin said, stay in the box and head the ball away. Do the old-fashioned Tony Adams stuff. He's great at that. Just do that. Don't try and become a footballer and create. He did do one good pass, to be fair to him, but that's not what he should be doing. He should be just doing the simple things that he can do and focus on that. So there was so many variables in that game that I think led to the situation we were in. But there's no excuse. What Ramsdale did, you've got 2 players on either side, easy to pass the ball to them. If we were struggling, if it was the 89th minute and there's a lot of pressure on us and he makes a mistake like that, you can almost excuse it. You think, all right, he's got a lot of pressure on him and he's suddenly just had a brain fart and he's done. But this was before the game had started, Melvin. Yeah, you've got a clear mind. Yeah, as you have both alluded to, this is the business end of the season. This is the most important part of our season where we should not and cannot afford to make mistakes. And he's passing between 2 attackers which are so close to each other, trying to do a clever ball to Zinchenko. What is that about? What is that about? Their second goal, you're focusing on Ramsdale, but also Saka and Zinchenko were looking at the unmarked player before the ball came to him. So why are they going to him and trying to close him down? Holding could also have done better. Maybe Saliba was there, he could have done better. But I just feel it was basic mistakes. And you're spot on about the conceding corners or not scoring from corners. I thought we had a coach that had come in and had sorted that out. What's happened to that all of a sudden? Where's that gone? And this is all happening now, where these mistakes, if anything, should have been happening at the beginning of the season, not now. Now we should be almost as immaculate as we can be. For me, it's all about making City win this title, not us just give it to them. I want them to win it. After we've been top all season, I want them to win it if they are going to win it. Here you go. We'll just do another draw. Don't worry. It's only the bottom of the league team. I will draw with them as well. You can catch up. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But I am really annoyed with the fact that Trossard was missing for the bulk of the game, and Emil Smith-Rowe didn't even get on the pitch. I just can't understand it. Vieira is not. I thought when Vieira came, he is a good player. I saw flashes of him thinking, wow, this guy's going to be good. But he's not physically ready. He's not. He needs to bulk up. He needs more match time, which isn't his fault. But the answer is a loan, maybe, or something. I mean, I don't understand how he can start in such an important game. And now we've got our backs to the wall. And look, positive me, I still think it's still in our hands in a way, because if we do beat City, we will be 2 points clear, even if they win their 2 games in hand. So we'll still be in the driving seat. But that is a monumental ask. It would be a monumental ask even if we had a full fit side. Now we've got a fragmented side that's lost balance. So it's going to be a massive, massive task. But I'm still going to keep positive. But it's a massive blow. Yeah, I agree. Massive blow.
I mean, you're mentioning there, Neil, and actually you make a good point about the mistakes that we're making now we wasn't making earlier in the season. And that's true, we wasn't. But I think a lot of that's to do maybe with mental tiredness, because the pressure on these players, the rotation of the squad has not been there because we haven't got the squad to do it. These players have been playing week in, week out, and eventually it's catching up with us. And I think it's maybe mental tiredness that's causing these individual mistakes, because it isn't necessarily collective mistakes. It's individuals making silly decisions that they wasn't making earlier in the season. It's got to be down to a mental tired and a physical tiredness probably as well. And I think the two combined, and that may be why we're making these mistakes now. And don't forget as well, the pressure is 10 times greater now than it was in October and in September and even before the World Cup and even straight after the World Cup. The pressure now is when every game is 5 times more important than the games that they were before, because like you said, Neil, we can't afford to be dropping points now. We've got Man City, one of the greatest teams in Europe, one of the greatest teams in Premier League history, not quite as good as a team that we've had in the past, but they're one of the greatest teams in Premier League history, breathing down our necks. We can't afford to make mistakes. And the pressure is so high. And I think that we've got a young team. You're right about Vieira, 100%. How Vieira started. Jorginho was bought in January, so he was an option instead of Xhaka. Xhaka's out and he plays Vieira. I mean, what is he doing?
Richard,
Crazy.
can I just, while you're both talking about Vieira, another point about him. If he had come through the youth sides, Vieira, the same age, with exactly the same talent, he would not be in the team.
No.
He would have been somebody that would be on the bench, and you might bring him on with a few minutes to go. But seeing as we bought him, he's leapfrog some quite good talent, and that's unfair. It's not good for the youngsters in our club, and it's for them to see. And if I was Smith Rowe, I'd be going, well, where do I want to play? England or Europe or America? Because he can't want to play with the Arsenal. If he's looking at that pitch, and he's done it, the West Ham game was obvious, and this game was obvious, and thinking the manager thinks that guy's a better footballer than me, then I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong club.
Yeah. No.
I'm sorry, it's just
absolutely.
To me, he's one of my favourite players, Smith Rowe. He gets me off my seat. We've got other players that do it from time to time. Every time he gets the ball, I expect something to happen.
He's so exciting. Sorry, Melvin. He's so exciting, and he carries the ball as well, and he does things. And do you know what? I will say it till I'm blue in the face, and I've told you guys this many times. I think if he didn't have injuries, I think he would have progressed even further than Saka, and that's how good I think he is. I think Saka's out of this world. We are blessed to have Saka, and I think Emil Smith-Rowe's actually got a little bit more. There's something about him that's just got that little bit more. And
he's a bit more unpredictable, isn't he? He's a bit more unpredictable on the ball. Whereas Saka is a great player, I agree, but he's kind of predictable in what he's going to do. But Smith-Rowe's got that extra little bit, hasn't he? That you never, if you're a defender, what's he going to do? You're not really sure, are you? And I think you're right. He's got. I mean, Saka's obviously progressed a lot quicker because he hasn't had the injuries, and that's one of the reasons. But you're absolutely right. Smith-Rowe's got that little something extra about him, and how he's not even getting on the pitch is it's baffling, absolutely.
I can't believe it.
At this moment in time when we need to win games and we're struggling to win games, we're drawing or we're losing, and Smith Rowe's sitting on the bench and he's bringing on. Well, he didn't bring on Vieira. He's brought Vieira on before. He actually started Vieira. It's like, honestly, what is going on? I mean, Vieira is a typical kind of, and we've got, and it's not just now. Actually, this has gone on for a number of years. We've got too many nicey players who are lovely little touches. They can swivel with the ball. They can do little pirouettes, brilliant stuff, right? But when it comes down to nitty gritty of fighting for a title, when you've got to be nasty and horrible and do the nasty things, we don't have enough players that can do that. We've got too many
luxury
nice players.
That luxury players.
Arteta comes out the other day after the Southampton game. I love the players even more now. What's he at a hippie communion? I mean, come on, mate. We were trying for the title. Do you think Patrick Vieira, when he was playing, Dennis Bergkamp, that they wouldn't accept that? They wouldn't. They don't want to be loved by the manager. They want the manager to go in there and rip them to pieces when they've just thrown points away. Not be, oh, I love you now. No, sorry, Arteta, you don't love them. Yeah, love them, but you tell them that you're disappointed and you're upset and you're angry and you want them to do better and they've got to improve. We're Arsenal. Coming second isn't good enough. Arsenal have got to be winning trophies, right? And if you're not up for that, if you just want to be all nicey, huggy, let's have a big group huddle in the middle of the pitch when we've just conceded a sloppy goal, right? Then that's fine. That's not Arsenal. That's not what we're about. I'm sorry. We are not about that. And Arteta is bringing in this culture in the club where, oh, let's all be nice to everyone. Let's all be smiley and happy. No, I'm sorry. You don't win nothing like that. Did Fergie win all those league titles by being nice to everyone? No, he didn't. Did he have a team that was nice to everyone? No, he didn't. He had teams that would kick the shit out of you, right? That's what they had to do. We won't do that. That's why we won't win the league, because we haven't got that nasty streak in us that you need to be the top level teams. That's what you need to have. Even now, you still do. Look at Man City, right? They've got great players, but they'll dig in and Rodri, you know what I mean? They've got players like that who will stick their foot in when they have to. And we don't have that. We're too nice. And that comes from the top of the team, doesn't it? It's not the players' fault. That's the culture that they've got around them. Let's all be nice to everyone. No, let's not be nice. In training, Martin Keown used to kick Dennis Bergkamp in training all the time, and he said he'd kicked him so that when he went out on the pitch, that's what he was going to have to get used to. I don't reckon our players do that in training. They don't have that competitiveness in
even
their
Toure, even Toure, when he made his coaching, his David to train, he went almost killed all our great players. And Wade was like, "Yeah, I'm having him.
I'll have you." Exactly. That's what you want.
Just an add-on to talk about the Southampton game, and it's kind of adds on to what you two are talking about. I only saw it once, but I thought Jesus should have had a penalty when he was brought down in the box, right? None of the Arsenal players made a fuss. Now, if that had been Man United of old, Fergie's style, or
that's what I'm saying.
Or Wenger's Arsenal, they'd have gone ape shit. And what they would have done wouldn't have been then, but perhaps the VAR people might have had a look at it.
Puts a doubt.
Had they had a look at it, I don't think he even got looked at, Richard. Why not?
Well, what I'm saying is, when Man United used to do that to referees, it put a doubt in the referee's mind. So next time, they would keep the decision in their favour because they started doubting themselves. Yeah, 100%.
It's a part of game management.
Of course it
Man
is.
United, as good as they were, and they were bloody good, had to do that to win titles.
Of course they
Without
did.
that, they wouldn't have won titles. And they knew that. That's why they kicked us off the park certain times.
Exactly.
We were better than them. That's the only way they could beat us.
Exactly, and that's the difference. And it's like Man United, right? I'll always remember that 50th game, right? And we know what happened in that 50th game. But Man United, I think I don't know if it was Gary Neville, one of the players said, this was a few years ago, he was talking about it, and he said before that game, and not just that game, but at that time, Ferguson used to say to the players, don't play football, just kick them, stop them playing. That was what his tactic was to us, because he knew that was a way to get a result. We'll go to Man City on Wednesday. We're not going to go to stop them playing. We're just going to play our little fancy football. And Man City will be, oh, cheers for that. We'll just go and rip you to pieces like we've done every other season for the last 5 years. Do you know what I mean? And you need to adapt to the situation. Fergie used to make sure that his players played a different way against Arsenal because he knew he had to. If he let us play, we would have ripped them to pieces at that time because we were the better team. And that's what you've got to do. When you're not quite as good as the other team, individually and collectively, you've got to do what you can. And we don't seem to be able to do that. Arteta doesn't have that in him to be able to change the way that we play in individual games to suit who we're playing against. And to win a league, you've got to do that because your fancy football will be fine in 50% of the season, and maybe 75% of the season, maybe even 80% of the season. But when it comes down to certain games at certain times when you have to win, you've got to win. You've got to find that way. You've got to do whatever it takes. And that's what Man United were good at. That's what Fergie was good at. And that's what Man City are good at now. You look at Man City, everyone thinks they're a great team, great football, and they play some fantastic football. They do, but when they have to, they've got a nasty streak in them. Kevin De Bruyne is a nasty player. Rodri's a nasty player when they need to be. They are. They've got loads of them that are like that. We haven't got anyone, have we? Who've we got in our team? If you look at them, they're all nice, aren't they? They're lovely. Brilliant. Fantastic guys. Brilliant. You'd have to have a little drink down the pub and go for a meal with them. Brilliant. But when it comes out on a football pitch, you need some horrible players that are going to get stuck in, kick people, stop the other team playing. But we don't want to do that because Arteta believes his fancy way of playing is enough to beat anyone.
On the pitch, Rich, it's war, right?
It is war. You're right.
I think it was I don't know whether it was the FA Cup tie against City or the league game. And I remember at half time, Odegaard and Haaland were laughing with each other. I thought, what are you doing? That's our captain. Look, I'm not going to sit here criticising Odegaard because I think he's great, but at the end of the day, you don't do that. And as a captain, especially, you don't do that. It's war. I always go with what Tony Adams used to say. He said, we are here to kill you when we're on that pitch. Afterwards, we can go and have a little, handshake and a hug, and we can ask about our families or whatever's going on in our lives. But when we're on that pitch, it's war. I don't want to see any of our players laughing or joking with any of the opposition for the whole duration of the game, ever. And that includes during half time. I don't want to see it. Because when you're on the pitch, you're there to kill them. And I can't stand that. I don't like it. And you're right about Ferguson, because not only did he admit that they had to, Arsenal were the only team that they had to change because they couldn't compete with them footballing wise. They said that was the only team. And also, I think one of the Nevilles, and I think also Roy Keane said it as well, that we respected them so much that they were the only team that we had to change our footballing philosophy against. And that's what we want teams to do now for us. We really do. And I mean, to a certain extent, this season it has happened, to be fair. But, I just think these last three games, well, especially the last two, oh, mate, what have we done? What have we done?
You've got to, just for a bit of slack, give Arteta a bit of slack. We haven't got I'm not blaming him or the owners. We haven't got the same squad that they got. We're not in their league, right? And
exactly. So that's all more reason. That's all the more reason to kick the shit out of them on Wednesday.
Oh yeah. But you know what's going to happen. The first foul we do, we get someone sent off.
Well, yeah, we won't. We won't set out to do that from the start, now, will we? We won't play that way. We won't play that way. I know Xhaka got sent off last season, didn't he, at Man City, for not even doing anything much. But anyway. We just won't. That's not in our nature. It's not in the players' nature. It's not in Arteta's nature. It's not the way we want to play. And sometimes you've got to do something different in certain games to win them. And you've got. I mean, the Liverpool game was a typical example of that, wasn't it? Our brilliant football worked for 25, 30 minutes, right? We ripped them to pieces, right? And then Liverpool thought, hang on a minute, this isn't right. They sort of changed slightly how they played. They were a bit more physical. They got in our faces. And then in the second half, they literally swarmed all over us. And because they changed the way they played, they adapted to the situation. And then West Ham was very similar, wasn't it? We ripped West Ham apart for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Absolutely ripped them apart. And then West Ham changed the way they played. And they thought, hang on a minute, if we carry on like this, we're going to get stuffed. So they changed what they did. And they fought back physically. I mean, Southampton, we gifted them the goal at the start, which didn't really help, obviously. But Southampton had a game plan. And I've seen a few people on Twitter in particular saying, oh, no one's talking about this comeback Arsenal made. We only came back in the game because Southampton literally had nothing left to give. They were just dead on their feet. They were going down with cramp. They were just spent, all of them. They were just absolutely dead on their feet because they'd spent the second half defending, and it's hard work. And they had nothing left to give. And in the end, we had just that little bit extra quality to be able to get the goals to get a draw out of the game, which in the end was almost pointless. Not quite pointless. It was 1 point, but it almost felt pointless, didn't it, to draw in the game. I still think that we lost it. I still look on that game as a loss. I don't even think we drew and got a point. It feels like we lost that game. And it still does now. I still feel as though we've lost it. And so I don't care about those two goals at the end. Just, we got them goals because Southampton were just too tired to hang on. They were too tired. But anyway, regardless of that, it is an accumulation of lots of different things now, isn't it? And it's all right on top of us now, isn't it? And this is the time in the season where you stand up and be counted. And we seem to be going into our shells, don't we? We're not standing up and being counted at this moment in time, at the very time when you need to be. And I'm not looking to blame the fact that we've got players injured. We haven't got that many players injured, but we've got a key defender missing. And I don't want to look for excuses in that. Yeah, we could have had a penalty. I agree. It could have easily been a penalty. There's been a couple of decisions recently have gone against us. But I'm not even blaming that. We have been our own worst enemy in these last 3 games. Nothing to do with injuries, nothing to do with refereeing decisions. We've thrown away those points ourselves. And when you look at, I think I saw a comment that Terry put in a bit earlier, actually. I know there's been a few comments coming now. We kind of missed a few of them. And he said something about all the, where does he say that there? I can't find a comment now that he made. I can't find it. It says, now my issue is with Arteta. He has cost us most of our drop points, and that is what I agree with. It isn't referees, it isn't injuries, it's Arteta's strange sometimes substitutions, strange starting teams occasionally, and not changing things enough. And I think he has been the reason why we've dropped most of our points. But the manager's responsible for everything anyway, isn't he? He's a manager. That's what he's there for. It's his job he's going to get the praise when we win and we do well. And equally, he should take some slack and some criticism when he gets things wrong. And when he makes the same mistakes constantly, as he seems to be doing, and he has done, we have to question him. And it's not wrong. And I agree with Melvin. It's easy to I don't sort of look on. I think all of us as fans of the club, right? We it's in our heart, isn't it? Right? This club is in our heart. It's been in our heart for all our lives, pretty much. And it means so much to us that when we feel that it's not that the team aren't doing as well as we think they can do, or we're not going to be doing as a club what we feel the club should be doing, we've got a right to feel upset and angry and frustrated by that. It's not wrong. It's not negative. I don't care if people think it's negative. I'm not really bothered. What I care about is how important it is to me and how important it is to us as fans for the club to be successful and do well and win trophies and be really competitive at the very top level of football, because that's where Arsenal should be. For me, that's where Arsenal should be. That's what I want to see Arsenal. And if Arsenal are doing that, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied unless we are challenging for the top. People say, only one team can win the league, only one team. Yeah, but it's not about winning stuff necessarily. It's about competing at the top level. That's what Arsenal should be, because that's what we are as a club. We're the 3rd most successful club in England. We've spent a lot of money. Anyone says we've spent a lot of money on this team now. We need to spend more, but I don't know. To me, it's frustration because we want it so much. We want so much to succeed. And it annoys me when people are just accepting it. Oh, well, it's fine. Coming second's all right, because we came 5th last year. So coming second's all right. Well, you might think it's all right. I don't. It's not. For me, it's not acceptable in the position that we've been in. It isn't.
Can I say something to counter that? Can I counter that, please?
Yeah, of course.
I understand what you're saying. And although I agree with most of it, what I don't agree with is that you said something and it's a positive. You just flew over it. We are competing. We haven't competed for years, and at least there's still a possibility we could win it, and we are, with a month to go, competing. So I don't think we can knock the tie, Arteta, or the club for that. It's fantastic. When I saw us play Man City last season, was it, at home, we were getting closer. But a year before that, they murdered us, and it was like worlds apart. It was like amateur football to the top Premiership football, the 2 teams. It was embarrassing, and we're not embarrassed anymore. They might beat us 3 or 4-0. I don't know they will, but at our best, they will not beat us 3 or 4-0. And if we happen to lose it by a few points, at least we've competed. I know it's not great, but at least we've competed for all the season, which we haven't done. Well, 20 years?
I do agree with that, Melvin, and you're right. And that is what we want to see on a regular basis, don't we? We want to see Arsenal competing for league titles, Champions League. We want to be competitive in that. We want to be competitive in everything, right? That's what we want to see Arsenal doing. But it almost feels, if you remember that season when Tottenham should have won the league and they ended up coming 3rd, and we laughed at them and said, oh, that's typical Spurs. They were celebrating, putting the pressure on, they said, didn't they? And that might be good enough for Tottenham because they never win anything. So that's probably fine for them. We're Arsenal. Putting the pressure on or just challenging and then fading away, it still isn't good enough. I don't think it's good enough for Arsenal. I really don't. And it's nice to be challenging again, I agree. And you've got a challenge to win it. Of course you have. You've got to be there to have a chance of winning it. But if ultimately we fall away, which is looking more likely over the last couple of weeks, you have to be honest, it's looking more likely we're going to fade away, then to me, that's we threw away top 4 last year. and we're on the verge of throwing away a league title that was ours for the taking. It was ours to win. A couple of weeks ago, it was ours. We won 7 games in a row. We were there. We were 8 points clear. It was ours to win. And it will be so. I can't put into words how disappointing it will be if we don't win this league this season, because we may not get a better chance. We may not. We don't know. For me, this has been our chance this season. Such a great position. 50 points after 19 games. No Arsenal team in history won that many games out of the first half of a season ever. The Invincibles, all the teams in the 1930s that won everything. No Arsenal team has ever done that at that start to the season. 50 points after 19 games, 1 defeat. All those wins. We only drew 1, didn't we? Win 1 and lost 1 and drew 1, I think, wasn't it? All those first 19 games. Incredible. How can you not win the league from that position? You have to win it. You have to. It's all about, yes, competing is great, but when you're in the position that we're in, you have to win it. And if we don't, it will be to me, it'll be a massive failure. It really will. It'll be as big a failure as I can remember an Arsenal team falling away. In 2003, we should have won the league that year. Do you remember? We dropped away at the end. We drew with Bolton or someone, and we lost at home to Leeds. We threw that title away, and I felt just the same then. We should have won that league, and I was gutted, like really annoyed and angry. And that was a great Arsenal team that had won stuff before, right? And then the following year, we went invincible and won the league, and it was fine. But at that time, we threw away, and this to me would be worse than that probably, because we was never that far ahead of Man United that season. We were above them. We were 3 or 4 points clear, but we was never miles clear like we have been. We never had that many points on the board at that point in the season. I just think it'll be. Do you remember that horse in the Grand National that was about 20 yards up front and slipped over on the final straight? That's what it'd be like if we don't win this league.
That's the Queen's horse. That was the Queen's horse, wasn't it?
Was it Devon Lock or something? Wasn't it?
Devon Lock, yeah.
Yeah, that's what this will be, the Devon Lock of Premier League football if we don't win the league this year. 100%. Devon Lock. That's what we'll be. That's what we'll be.
Yeah, but that horse never had a machine chasing it, did it?
Well, no, that's true. But it didn't have Red Rum behind it, I suppose. But it's not. It doesn't matter how good Man City are. We were so far clear of them. It didn't matter how good they are. They could win every game. It was in our hands.
It's relative. It's a factor how good they are, Richard. If every team was like Spurs, it didn't matter if we drew up Southampton.
If every team was like Spurs, we'd have won the league 50 times.
Yeah, I'm talking about this season.
Well, yeah.
Take Man City out of the equation, and it doesn't matter we draw at home at Southampton, does it?
Well, can I put a caveat in all this now? Can I become positive again, please?
Yeah, go on.
I will say, I agree with you, Rich. It will be gut wrenching if you don't win it. I mean, starting it from the blooming start, those friendlies.
Yeah, you were.
And I'll be mortified. I will be mortified. Now, having said that, I'll try and put a different hat on, or I try and put a different personality within myself. And I think actually what we've already achieved, let's have a look. We've come above Tottenham, which is all right. It's not a great thing, but it's always a nice bonus. It is a little like, come on, Rich, it is always a nice beat. You don't want to hear them mount. You know, they'll get their DVDs and CDs out, even if they do one.
All we've got, Melvin, Neil, the last 6-7 years they finished above us. 61. That's all you got to say. 61. Go back and hide.
It is ridiculous.
I don't care if they finish above us. They never do anything. They never achieve anything.
Richard, it was 8 years before the man landed on the moon, allegedly.
Exactly.
Before, it's incredible, isn't it, when you think about it.
Black and white TV. You know what I mean? Black and white TV. I mean, I know we haven't won the league for 19 years, but at least the internet was invented.
Have you heard the news that's come out in Spurs tonight? Have you heard what's happened?
Yes.
The manager's been sacked.
I don't know if you have. It was about 10 minutes ago.
Oh.
They sacked the number 2.
Yeah.
They put the number 3 in. And they've been told that the mascot's going to be the mascot of Spurs is on standby in case number 3 don't work out all right.
They'll probably do a better job.
Won't be surprised. Yeah, sorry, I was just saying we have have we more or less guaranteed ourselves Champions League now? I think we have. We should have.
Do we not need one more point? I think we need one more point.
I'm sure we'll get 1 point. I'm sure we'll get 1 point, for goodness sake. So I think that's there. So that's been achieved. We've done that with the second youngest squad. Now, I think you were making good points, and I was trying not to listen to you at the time, Rich. Not without any risk, not because I didn't respect what you were saying, but I just didn't want to believe it. And you were saying that our squad is too thin, and it's probably too inexperienced. And I always think, no, we're all right. We're going to be all right. We'll do it. But actually now, if you think about it, that may be the Achilles heel. That might be I'm still not giving up. I'm sorry. I look, we are okay. They've got 2 games in hand, but we've got the points in the bag. And I know it's points in the bag that will take us above, that'll take them above us. But we have got still a 5-point lead, and it's 6 games to go. I still am very proud that we're actually in this position. I'd rather be in this position than anywhere else. I think it could have been a lot better. Yes, you're right, Rich. If we'd at least, even if we'd got 1 win out of those 3 draws, it would have been a bit of a comfort. We couldn't even get 1 win. That's the annoyance. I think that's the frustration. But we're still 5 points clear. If by some miracle, something happens and City capitulates somewhere during the course of the rest of the season, I can't see it because they're just destroying everything in sight. I can't see it. But you never know. Jimmy Greaves once said, football is a funny old game. And if you cast your mind back to 89, we were so far ahead, and then we blew our drop points at with Derby at home. And I think we drew at Wimbledon, or drew with Wimbledon or something.
We drew with Wimbledon, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone wrote us off. No one gave us a hope in hell. And that was at Anfield where no one ever beat them, and we did it. So I know you might think I'm grasping at straws or whatever it's or clutching at straws, but I still feel we're not out. We're not done yet. And I want us, if nothing else, Rich, Melvin, if nothing else, I want City to fight for the title if they're going to do it. And I want us to be a part of that or be a component of that on Wednesday night. That's what I ask for now.
Yeah. No, of course, no. Of course, we don't want to hand them the title. Of course not, by dropping too many points. No, they need to have to win it, and to have to win it, they need to win every game, and we need to make sure they have to win every game. And the only way to do that is we have to win all ours and keep that kind of pressure on them to keep winning as well. Because you're right, we do have the lead. Yes, if you take the games in hand away, we don't have the lead, but they've got to win them, as you said. They've got to win their games, and they've got Champions League still. They've got an FA Cup final to come. Yes, they've got a massive squad, so that's not a major problem. Not the same problem it'd be for us if we had all them games. We couldn't cope with the squad that we've got, and that's an issue as well. But no, I mean it is. You're right. We are top of the league still, and we could still win it. Of course, we could. I mean, I've seen a lot of 89 things mentioned, but in 89, that Liverpool team were in decline. They were at the end of their run, wasn't they? Soon after that was it. They were done, and we were. I don't know. We just had more about that team, didn't we? Tony Adams. We were. Yes, that was, we didn't expect to win at Anfield, did we? Of course we didn't. We thought we'd blown the league. I remember the Derby game when Alan Smith scored in the last minute to make it 2-1 and we're losing. I'm thinking, you have just scored the most pointless goal in history, mate. Why have you even bothered? Why did you score? Why did you just put it over the bar for all the good it's going to do, right? That was how I felt at the time, right? And then obviously it proved to be technically that's the goal that won us the league because we won by 1 goal and that goal was as important as anyone. But I don't know. I just feel as though this City team are at the peak of their powers, right? And to us, I'm not saying we can't go there and win. We're capable of winning. We're capable of beating anyone if we turn up and play well. Of course we are. But I don't like these comparisons of 89. This isn't like 89 at all. It's nothing like it. Nothing like it at all. And even if we win at Man City, that isn't an Anfield moment. It isn't. I'm sorry. It's not.
I'm not. No, Richard. I'm not comparing. They're totally different. I'm just saying that sometimes football can sway. You can lose hope after being in such a high. Yeah, that's the analogy I was making. I wasn't comparing the eras. I wasn't comparing the teams. I wasn't even comparing the situation. And yes, there will never be an 89. For me, 89, as an Arsenal fan, for me, will be the greatest moment. For me, and I think it is for you, Rich, as well, maybe Melvin, the best moment as a supporter, without doubt. Even despite the Invincibles, that for me was the best moment ever. Right,
and also it's the greatest one-off game ever played in football history.
Oh, without a doubt. They talk about the City when City won at that time and Aguero scored. That didn't compare. That's no way near.
QPR.
No, that's QPR for goodness' sake. It's no way near.
QPR had nothing to do with that. I think they could QPR. Just one thing. If we're going to talk about the Man City game, I think what might slightly turn momentum in our favour, and you probably won't agree, is if we get a draw. Because I think in the Man City's minds, if they beat us, have won the league, and they're probably right. So if they don't beat us, I think there's a little bit of momentum swings back to us.
Yeah, no, but potentially you're right. Well, why don't we? I'll tell you what. Why don't we have a look at the Man City game? And since it is the biggest game of the season by a mile, actually, for in the Premier League, isn't it? Now, I was looking at some stats earlier when Arsenal played Man City, and I started going through them, and in the end, it was depressing me too much. So I didn't want to carry on doing them because we have got a dreadful record against them, haven't we? Let's be honest. We haven't beaten them in the league since, the internet was invented, probably. And, we haven't won at the Etihad for a long, long time. We lose every year there. We don't seem, There's a little quiz for you, This could be quite interesting. In how many was it I worked out? In the last 11 league matches against Manchester City, and that goes back to 2016, 2017, Arsenal have only scored 4 goals against Man City in the league in that time, right? Only 4 goals in all them games. I think it's 11, 12 games in the league. Who are the 4 players that scored those goals?
Ramsey, did he get one?
No, not in that. Not
Santi
in that period.
Cazorla?
No, that was before. That was when we beat them.
Oh.
I was going to say Giroud.
We've only scored 4. Bearing in mind, 2 have been in the last 2 seasons.
Saka at home. Saka at home.
Yeah.
Not Sanchez?
No, that was before. That was when we.
That was before as well.
Yeah, going back to 2017. Since 2017, it is. We haven't. We've lost every single game that we've played in the league against them in that time, and we've only scored 4 goals. It's 11, 12 games it is, and we've only scored 4 goals. And Saka's right. Yeah, Saka did score. Obviously, this season he scored a penalty.
3 others.
Well, Saka scored twice then. He scored last season at home as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Saka scored twice. So we've got 2 at the Emirates, both scored by Saka, and we've scored twice at the Etihad as well in that run. Who are the 2 players that scored at the Etihad?
Wow. Are they sort of non-typical scorers, would you say? Give us a clue.
Well, they're non-typical scorers now because they don't play for Arsenal anymore.
That's
what the game was.
I remember playing away to Man City. I think we got beat 3-1, and I think we might have been 3-0 down or whatever, or 2. And I think that Ramsey should have scored to make it 1 goal difference, but I don't know who the other goal scorer was. Do you remember that game?
Mertesacker?
It's close to Mertesacker. Not
I know. Koscielny.
Yeah, Koscielny got one of them. We lost. We did lose 3-1 in that game. The one when Koscielny scored, Aguero scored after about a minute. And then after about 5 minutes, Koscielny equalised. And we thought, oh, hang on a minute. And then, of course, we lost 3-1. So that was one of them. And then there's one more, which was the season after that. We scored as well. Who was it that got that goal? Again, someone who doesn't play for us anymore. We lost 3-1 in that game as well, funnily enough.
Gosh.
Oh, I'll say Ozil.
No.
Oh, I said Ozil. It was Ozil.
Did you? Sorry.
Yeah. No, go on then, Rich.
Yeah, let's go on.
Lacazette.
Oh.
Did he? Don't remember that.
Yeah. Lacazette. Yeah, we lost 3-1. I think we were 2-0 down. He scored and made it 2-1. And then obviously they went up the other end and got another one.
Well, one of those games, I think Ramsey missed quite an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, we just, I don't know, our record there is so poor, it's ridiculous. Honestly, it is so poor. But they were a very good team, and we haven't been particularly good over recent years. So I suppose that's probably why as well. But history is there to be broken, isn't it? And bad runs are there to end. That's what it's about. It happens in football all the time. No one loses the same fixture every year forever, do they? Eventually, you get a result. You always do. And unfortunately, we haven't managed to for a while. But is Wednesday going to be the day? I mean, I must admit, I'm not filled with much confidence after watching the last few games, if I'm honest. The goals we're conceding, the mentality of the team doesn't seem quite right for a title battle, a game this big at this time. And it's fun, isn't it? Because when we played Man City at home was it January? We came into that game on the back of a poor run. Was it a defeat and a draw against Everton and Brentford? And then we played City on the back of a bad run. And we're doing it again. We're playing City again on the back of a bad run. And it just seems unfortunate timing. You need to go to City when you're confident, you're winning games and you're playing well. Then I think you can go there and think, right, we can take it to them. I think now, because again, we're a little bit down in the dumps. We haven't got results in recent games. The pressure's on us, so we can't afford to lose. So I don't know. I just feel it's not good timing again in terms of the way the fixtures have worked out and our form going into it. But you can't do anything about that, can you? I mean, Melvin, what do you think is going to happen Wednesday? Let's be honest. It's not going to be. It's probably not going to be pretty, is it, for us? Generally,
Number one, I don't think the manager will change anything.
No.
On the basis
that no.
If he wanted to try something out, he would have done it against Southampton. So I think that he's going to actually play the team as we see it. He might not play Vieira. I don't know what's wrong with Xhaka. Do we know what's wrong with Xhaka?
He was ill.
So we might get him back.
He should be fit. Yeah.
Helps a bit. But you know, if you think about it, I mean, the other night when we were getting beat 2-0, my son turned around to me and said, "If you won't win this game 5-2, you got no chance of winning this league. Not with that defence." Southampton looked very good against our defence.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Right. So did Liverpool second half, and so did for a part of the game West Ham. Our defence has been, for some reason, shot to pieces, and that's what, you know. If you got a good defence, you can't win games. And that's the problem. We can't ask our forwards to keep getting us out of trouble when we give stupid goals away. Or you know, we want, at least, like you said, you want Man City to win the title, not us give it to them. And I feel the same with football, Neil. I want teams to deserve to get a goal against us, work for it, and not be given goals against us. And a lot of that's been happening recently. So I like that to stop. No, listen, I'll be sitting there behind my sofa, bow down, have a little look over the sofa.
That's what we'll all be like, I think.
And I'll be going, you know what? I'll be going, yes, 5 minutes, we've kept them at bay. It's a bit like that. And what normally happens is it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, come up to half time, we're nearly halfway there, then we're letting it go. It happens so many bloody times. It happens, you know, so many times. I hope it don't happen. I hope that we can hold on, because for me, yes, strange things happen at football. Nothing's certain in football, but I cannot imagine how it must be for us to win. I can't imagine what must happen in the gods for us to win, because of a pure football situation, and we've lost our momentum. Not just, of course, we've drawn 3 games, but the way we've drawn 3 games.
Yeah,
we've lost any momentum we've had. We've got no spark anymore. It's really, really, really going to be tough. Listen, Bournemouth nearly beat us at the Emirates the other week, and they were down and out in Paris and London, weren't they? They were really down and out, and they nearly beat us. We've had other teams. Look at Southampton; they could have beaten us. So nothing.
Two draws this season with Southampton, bottom of the league. We haven't beaten once.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I'm saying strange things happen in football, but the odds of that happening are not big. But let's hope we get the odds in our favour, because at the moment they're not. So I ain't got much hope. I'll tell you something, like I said, a draw for me would be a bonus. As every minute ticks by, I'll be going, yeah, we've kept them out, as long as we do, obviously. Because I'm not sitting there chilled out on the sofa, having a drink or whatever, a cup of coffee or whatever, looking forward to my biscuit at half time. No. It's going to be, I'll be going like this all the time. I'll be uptight all the time until that final whistle goes, or I know the game's over. And I won't know the game's over if we're winning. I'll know if the game's over if they're winning. If there's 1 or 2 goals up, then it's good night Vienna. So it's going to be, it won't be as emotional as other games I've been to, because I'm not expecting us to do it. I hope we do, obviously, but I'm not expecting it. So anything we get out of that game will be a bonus. Anything. So I'm not that optimistic, sorry.
No, I mean, you've got every right not to be optimistic. I think none of us have, really, because that's the way it is. I mean, the form that we're in, what Man City are doing at the minute. Robert's put his team up there. Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Tierney, Odegaard, Partey, Martinelli, Trossard, Saka and Jesus. I mean, that's a rather strange team. And clearly you've not been paying attention to Arteta all season, because he doesn't make, as Melvin said, he doesn't make changes against Southampton at home. He's not going to go to Man City and throw a team like that out there, is he? He's just not going to do it. You know, he's not going to play Zinchenko at centre back, is he? and play Tierney at left back. Imagine Zinchenko playing at centre back and he's in midfield after game. We'll just get ripped to pieces. We can't do that. And he won't do it anyway. He won't change the team. I agree with Melvin. Xhaka coming back in, if he's fit, Xhaka comes back in for Fabio Vieira, and that's it. And that's, I think Michael's made that point in the chat as well. He said exactly the same. He said, I'd love to change the system, but he'll play Xhaka for Fabio and play the same team. Yeah, exactly. He will. 100% he will, because he doesn't take risk for a start off. And if he was going to change the team by now, he would have done it. We were 33 games into the season. He hasn't really changed it once.
We would have tested it. You know what I would have tested the other night? And he wouldn't do it because he has to stick with Holding because he's his man. He cannot now drop Holding because he'll be looked a fool if he drops Holding now and give him the, the big up, oh, he's this, that, and the other. I would have loved to have played White at centre half and give Reece Nelson a try from the back on the right.
Right back, Reece Nelson?
Yes. Just stay with Grealish the whole time. Stay with Grealish.
See what? That actually, it's an unusual call, but I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see Ben White as centre back instead of Holding, 100%. But the right back position is, we're obviously with Tomiyasu injured. The right back situation is difficult, isn't it? Because we don't have a natural right back now in the squad that we can bring in. Reece Nelson, that's an interesting one. Would Bukayo Saka not be better maybe in that position? And Trossard.
But you're changing too many things around, Richard. Then we won't have any attack at all on that side.
Trossard.
Yeah.
Trossard.
I think he's made that position his own, Saka. We can't afford not to have him playing in his best position against play Trossard right back. No, I think Reece Nelson, I've seen him tackle. I've seen him, he's fast, he can tackle, he can get in people's faces. I'll give it a go. He ain't going to keep going on the outside of Saka, I agree, like Ben White does, because he ain't going to get that many chances anyway. But I think he can do a job there for one night, one game.
Yeah, but do you make a big change like that to the defence in a big game?
I could afford to do it because it's not up to me.
No, well, exactly, yeah. We can pick whatever, as Robert's done there, we can pick whatever team we like because we ain't got to do it. We're not picking the actual team that's got to play, so we can pick whatever team we want. We can play anywhere we want, can't we? We could play Trossard at right back if we want to, because we don't have to make that decision, do we? But I personally don't think he will change anything much other than Xhaka, if he's fit, coming back in. That's what's going to happen. That'll be it, and it'll be the same team. I'll be amazed if there's any other changes in that. I'll be amazed. And certainly not in terms of system change. I can't see him changing the system. He hasn't changed the system for a long, long time. He's not going to change it in this one game, is he? Definitely not. We know what to expect, and that's it. And Robert says, I would love to see Mario Cozier-Dubry given a game. I reckon he's a greater, stronger than Vieira for this match. Yeah, but he's not going to throw a kid like that into this game. He just won't do it. Absolutely. Maybe at the end of the season, if the title's gone, he might give him a run out in one of the games later on. I'm not sure, but definitely not for this one. Neil, what are you thinking then for Man City? Obviously, we know there's not going to be too many changes to the team. Can we actually go there at this moment in time, the way we're playing, the way they're playing? And it would be a shock, wouldn't it? If we win that game, I think it would be a shock. Even though we're top of the league, I still think it would be a shock if we go there and win.
Massive underdogs. We're massive underdogs. This is why the Southampton game was so infuriating. I'll tell you why. I would have preferred a 1-0 win, but us play brilliantly throughout the whole game. Doesn't necessarily mean that you score goals when you play brilliantly, but I wanted to see a confident, mistake-free, professional performance, and we just beat them. And I would have taken a 1-0 win because then that would have got our morale back up, that we played really well again. We've come out of those 2 draws and we've come back. And all right, we haven't got 15 goals against them, but we played really well the whole game and we got the 3 points. This was a good last 10 minutes. From, as you said, Southampton was lagging and they got leggy and whatever and what have you. Still great to get the 2 goals up when it's, 3-1 down at 88 minutes. I mean, the stadium was absolutely going mad, wasn't it, Melvin? I mean, it was just crazy, the stadium. But the point is, the damage had already been done. It was like too little too late for me. Too little too late. That, now, it happens, as you said, Alan Smith, why did you score that goal against Derby? He ended up probably being the important goal. Maybe the draw that might pan out, the draw against Southampton, that point might end up being a really important point. We don't know. We don't know yet. We'll know at the end of the season.
No, we don't know yet, no. Absolutely.
But no, we are massive underdogs. It's a shame because, again, being on top of the league all season and yet we're 5 points clear and yet we're the clear underdogs. I mean, it shouldn't be like that. We should have gone in with this game full of confidence, a different type, momentum and a different mindset altogether. Now we're going in thinking, oh God, what we got to do to even stay with them? The way they're playing, the way we're playing, the form book, we're going to be struggling. However, it could be a one-off game. Things could go our way. We might get a refereeing decision in our favour for a change. Anything can happen. They could get a red card. It's possible, and that's the things we've got to hold on to. As far as changing the team, I mean, Michael put an interesting formation. I'm not good with formations and the science of it all, but he was suggesting go with a back three and two wing backs, and maybe do something different. Block. Really make the midfield very heavy to stop them, to nullify the players like De Bruyne, etc. Maybe, but the thing is, I agree with you guys. He's not going to change it that drastically. Not in one game. He would have done it over the course of maybe 2 or 3. He's not going to change it. I just don't know what I can't. Please don't play Vieira, please. I don't want to poo-poo on the guy, but please do not play Vieira. For the love of God, he's going to get destroyed in that midfield. So even if Xhaka isn't ready, you have options. There's Jorginho. There's Trossard. There's Jorginho. Yeah, that's what I mean. Don't be silly, please, Mikel. You've done wonders this season. You've taken us to the heights and the pinnacle of the league, but don't play blooming Vieira on Wednesday. Apart from that, I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty much the same as well. I don't know whether it's worth bloodying Kibio instead of Holding, but he hasn't had much.
You ain't going to do it.
No, I know you won't do it, Melvin. I'm just suggesting. It's just me talking. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but it's a miracle. If we do it, it will be a miracle. But you know what? I'm always going to stay positive because I know that I think a draw isn't a bad result. I agree with you, but a win will be far better. So I will predict a 2-1 win. And you know who will score? Jesus and Zinchenko.
Back at their old team. Well, maybe they will. Michael's made an interesting point here, which I quite like. He says City's last 4 defeats at the Etihad have been by London clubs, which is very true. But what you got to remember is one of them was against Crystal Palace, who are terrible. One of them was against Brentford, who are terrible, and 2 of them were against Tottenham, who are terrible. So only terrible London teams win at the Etihad, not good London teams. So there's something there just to caveat that off a little bit. But they have been against London teams, that's true. But the last time we won there was a very long time ago. 8 years, in fact, for those who didn't know. Terry says, drop Zinchenko and play KT against City. I would drop Zinchenko permanently. And I would send him... When we play at Man City on Wednesday, leave him there. Leave him. They can have him back, honestly. Stick KT in the team. He's a much better left back. Much better. If you're going to play Zinchenko, either play him in midfield or don't play him. Don't play him at left back because he's not a left back. He's a liability at left back. Honestly, he is. I'd leave him in Manchester. I'd leave him there. Let him find his own way back to London. And hopefully he won't find his way back for the next game. And then KT has to play because he's 10 times better left back defensively than Zinchenko is. And that's I totally agree with Terry. I would do that as well. But he won't. Absolutely not. 100% he won't do that. But I would. But then I don't pick the team. So there you go. But yeah, so, I mean, God, prediction. This is a game... I mean, Melvin, you didn't give us a prediction, did you, actually, a score prediction? Neil's gone 2-1 to us. I mean, that's pretty optimistic. I like that. It's optimistic, isn't it?
I think we get beat 2-0.
I must admit, I can't see much other than a defeat, if I'm totally honest. I just think if we'd played them 3 weeks ago, it might have been a different story. We had... Everything was in our favour. The momentum was with us. We were playing well. I just think now... It's just a bad time to be playing them, really, really bad time for us to be playing them. And I fear that we will lose, unfortunately. I really do. I mean, if we can hang on for a draw, I agree that would be a decent result in the circumstance. I'll take a draw now. I would definitely take... As soon as he blows a whistle for the start of the game at 0-0, blow the final whistle, that'll be it. I'll be quite happy. Take the 0-0 draw, and that will do us. But, yeah, I would take a draw. But
can I make a prediction? Can I make a prediction about the game? I'm a bit and twisted, I know, but I reckon our goalie gets booked for time wasting.
Our goalie?
Because no other goalie gets booked for time wasting. I've seen it there so many times. Our goalie gets booked for time wasting.
The Brentford goalie got booked for time wasting against us. When we played Brentford.
And every goalie does it, but what about the other? I've seen it so many things. The Newcastle keeper, the keeper, the other. Just get me out.
They don't tend to book them for time waiting, really, do they? But yeah, Ramsdale, we'll be winning 1-0, or it'll be 0-0 with like 2 minutes to go. And Ramsdale will take 10 minutes over a goal kick and get booked first time he does it. 100% he will, yeah. I agree. He probably will, you're right. Anyway, Robert says, well then, yes, City can be terrible. We're all human beings. If we go to win, we'll win, no doubt about it. Well, I think we'll go there to win. I'm just not sure if we've quite got enough about us to go to City and win in a title running. I just personally don't think we will, but you never know. I mean, Neil was talking about miracles, and miracles do happen. We've seen miracles happen, not only in football, in life. Miracles do happen, and you know, it's 90-minute game of football. You know, it isn't brain surgery or anything. It's important in life, really. It's important to us. It's a game of football, and 90 minutes, 11 against 11, or maybe 10 against 11, whatever it might be. And yes, of course, we can beat Man City if we turn up, play our best. Man City are slightly off their game. Decisions happen, things happen in the game, situations. Of course, we can win. I'm not saying it's impossible for us to win. I just think that we're not going to. Personally, I just can't see us doing it. I just can't see the set of circumstances falling into place where we win that game tomorrow on Wednesday. Sorry, I just cannot see it. Terry says there 5-0 us. The ref and VAR are gooners. I heard on the grapevine.
Did Marvin Gaye tell him that? Did Marvin Gaye tell you that?
Yeah, for a grapevine, he must have done. Yeah, definitely, he did. Yeah, but to win 5-0, it's not going to just take the ref and VAR. We'll actually have to have 5 shots and be in their penalty area 5 times, won't we? So that's out of the referee's hands, really, isn't it? He can't force us into their penalty area. So that's going to be. But I don't think he will. Robert says if he plays Holding and Vieira, we might just as well enjoy watching the Invincibles and imagine we want to cheer ourselves up. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I mean Holding will play, 100% Holding will play. Vieira, no, I don't think Vieira will play. Well, I can't see it. Surely not. Terry says there, you devil magic Melvin, a biscuit at half time. I think you'll have a JD and ice. Probably need a JD and ice at half time, and all I would have thought. There we go. Terry says, I think we can win at City if we show the same guts as the Arsenal women are showing. Well, yeah. We'll have a chance then, won't we? Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, because they've certainly been, showing some fight in the last few weeks. Terry says, some guy while I was sitting on the dock of Herne Bay. That was no. Who was it? Sung on the dock of the bay? Was that wasn't Marvin Gaye, was it?
No.
I can't think it was now.
Dock of the bay. Was it Al Green? Someone like that? I don't know.
No, it wasn't Al Green. Who sang on the dock of the bay? I'm sure it wasn't Marvin Gaye, was it? It was someone else. I'm sure it was someone else. Loki's gone for a cheeky 3-2 win. Wow. Ooh. Martinelli on fire, he says. Well, Martinelli's on fire at the minute, like, but a cheeky 3-2, eh? We wouldn't mind a cheeky 3-2, would we?
Otis Redding.
Otis Redding, there you go. That's it.
Sarah knows.
Good old Otis Redding. Brilliant. Yeah, it was Otis Redding, yeah. Tell you what, there's some great songs out there.
Just ask me any pop questions of a certain era.
Do you want to swap chat places? Go off, get off with you, Melvin. Let's get over it.
Cheers.
Bye.
Otis Redding, there we go. Brilliant, good stuff. Look, Robert's put it as well. Yeah, it's all right putting it now. We all know it now. And Local says Bruce Willis. Oh yeah, Bruce Willis did no. Bruce Willis sang Under the Boardwalk, didn't he? I don't know if he sang on the He sang Under the Boardwalk, didn't he, Bruce Willis? That was quite good actually. He was quite a good singer, wasn't he? Bruce Willis?
It was good.
I quite liked him. Yeah, he was decent, wasn't he? Craig says, "Hello, mum, bye, mum." Well, yeah, he pops in and pops out again.
It is Craig. Yeah.
Craig
I thought someone being cheeky.
Yeah, no, it was Craig. It was definitely Craig. Robert's been a bit cheeky there. He says, "Well, Melvin, she's gorgeous." Well, what would you wouldn't expect anything less, would you, Robert? So you know what I mean.
Exactly.
And Robert says, "I said it first." No, you didn't say it first. So don't even try to think you said it first. You definitely didn't say it first.
We'll have to go
on 9:14. It was before 9:14. We got the right answer. But well done for getting it anyway. And it's Otis, not Otos. You put Otos Redding. It's Otis Redding. You got to be able to spell it right as well. And it's not Redding like that, is it? I don't think it's spelled like. It was spelled like that actually. I think so.
Poor Robert's getting destroyed. Oh God.
He is, yeah. Well, he's trying to claim the glory for guessing the answer. He didn't get it in time. But anyway,
I thought his answer was who name a lift.
A lift?
Yeah, Otis make lifts, don't they?
Do they? I
Yeah,
don't know.
if you go in a lift, it's one of
Look
them.
at this guy's knowledge, Rich. It's ridiculous.
That's
Otis
madness.
makes
That.
lifts.
I mean, do you ever go in a lift and take a notice of who's built the lift? I don't. I get in the lift, press the button, and hope and pray it's going to get me where I want to go without breaking down. That's what I'm doing.
God. If nothing else, you two have cheered me so. Oh, I'm still so happy now after coming on here. It's brilliant.
I used to be a lift spotter.
Oh God.
Lift spotter. Well, I'm sure there's people that do that. I'm sure there is, because people will spot anything if they put their mind to it, won't they? Robert says there, he says, we had to travel to you via the stupid internet. Well, yeah, okay, we'll give you that. Maybe it did have to travel to us as well. But anyway, Craig says there, Otis and Schindler make lifts. Well, there you go.
It's true, yeah, Schindler does make, yeah.
Do they? Well, there you go. So too much time on your hands.
As well, doesn't he? Schindler makes lists as well.
He does make lists as well, yeah, he does. Yeah, lists and lifts. There you go. But we'll won't really dwell on that for too long. Loki said Melvin's right. Well, we know Melvin's right. Yes, we do. Because Craig just confirmed it that they do make lifts as well. But I wouldn't have known that. Terry says I only use Titan lifts as my cousin owns them. The Titan. See, all these lift companies, I wouldn't have known any of them because I've never looked at the sign that who's made it. I know it's on there.
If somebody's joining us now, this is definitely a football podcast, not a podcast about lifts. Yeah.
Henkel make lifts as well. The German company Henkel, they're quite good.
Oh my God, he knows them all.
Right. Well, this is
the 1938 one was a lift, which is slightly different variation to the 1937 one.
Well, I think what we need to do is in future we need to spend.
I'm only joking. I know nothing about lifts.
God, I thought you'd be serious.
You've got a good knowledge of this. What we need to do next time you're in a lift, anybody that's out there, next time you're in a lift, check out who it is that's made the lift. Where you press the button on that metal ball, it's always on there, isn't it? There's always a name on there. There is.
Always on the metal thing,
I've noticed the name, but I've never paid any attention to it before. But now in future, I'm going to, every lift I go in, I'm going to be looking at, and I'm going to write them down. I'm going to get a list together, and we're going to have to come up with the top 5 lift companies in the world, right? And all of us can put our lists in. That's what we need to do. It's going to be good fun.
Oh, gosh.
Craig says, you never really know what lift companies are doing well. And they all have their ups and downs.
Oh, no.
True.
Terrible. Terrible.
They do. But I think the only one I'd remember is if the lift broke down. Then I think I would remember.
Oh, then you'll take notice. Yeah.
If I was stuck in it for 4 hours.
Can I tell a story about a lift when I was at work in the city? What happened? There was a proper lift, and that broke down. And you can go to the back of the building. There's a very small one, and we all came back from a market at the same time. We were squashing this little lift, and one of the dealers was having a panic attack. Anyway, it stopped halfway, and he was going mad, going red in the face. His nose was against the door. He was shouting and screaming. He was banging on the door. Some geezer comes. I go, "You in there?" We go, "Yeah." He says, "What do you want?" He says, "Get someone." "Who?" "Just get anybody you in." So you know what the geezer said? All right, Willie says, "Don't go away." And he walked off. The geezer went mad. He went mad. "Don't go away. Where do you think I'm going to go?"
Oh, brilliant. And as Loki says there, that was a very uplifting story. It was.
Yeah.
Michael says a list of lifts. Yeah, that's what we need. A list of the best lifts. That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Quite hard to say, but it's what we need to do. And Michael says, let's hope Odegaard is doing a trophy lift at the end of the season. Yeah, that'll be the best lift, won't it? Actually, that'll be number 1 on the list of lifts. Will be that. So yeah. Anyway, good. Terry says, I hope you didn't have a pee in it, Magic. Well, no, you can't have it. You don't have a pee in a lift, do you?
Not if you're going to stay there. Not if you're going to stay there. No, that's one of the first rules, isn't it? We lift.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, especially not in the Otis lifts, because obviously you can't do it in the Otis lifts, can you?
They're stainless steel, though. They're quite good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I'm sure they are.
Stainless steel chassis they got. That's quite good.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, we'll take your word for it. But anyway,
Jesus Christ, Melvin.
How did we get talking about? Oh, it's Reading. It's his fault.
Otis Reading. Yeah,
exactly.
Actually, we can trace this back to Terry for putting in about the Dock of the Bay when we were talking about Marvin Gaye. So I don't even know where that even came from. So it's Terry's fault. We got off on this. It's all his fault.
Terry, what you done to us, Terry? What you done?
Yeah. But anyway,
we're just trying to avoid Man City. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, metal block.
It's probably a good idea. But yeah.
Cool. Anyway, let's carry on. What floor were we on?
For God's sake.
I think we've got stuck, Melvin.
Oh, mate. Stop it, you two. Let me know.
But anyway,
God.
What was your Melbourne's score prediction? Was 2-0 to Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Neil's gone 2-1 to us. I think we'll lose. Actually, I think it'll be 2-1. Actually, I think we might score, but I do think we'll probably lose 2-1, which won't be great, will it? But let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope Melvin's wrong, and let's hope Neil's right. And Loki, who said 3-2 in the chat, which was
Terry,
pretty
5-0.
Well, yeah, we don't listen to Terry's 5-0, though, do we? Let's be honest. He randomly says these silly scores, and one day he gets one right, and he goes on about it for weeks. Oh, I got the score right. Yeah, you got one right out of about 500. Because one day we're going to win 5-0, aren't we? Let's be honest, we will. But anyway, Michael's gone with a 1-1, bit conservative there, but we'll take a 1-1, won't we?
Take that. Take it.
Craig's gone with a Desmond. We've had a few Desmonds lately, so our last 2 away games were Desmond. So can we do 3 in a row? That would be. Have we ever done that before?
Remember.
Terry says first floor, we're going down. Yeah, that seems to be where we are at the minute. Yeah, we're on the top floor and we're heading down. Yeah, maybe, but we'll see. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, we'll be heading back up again. We shall see.
Come on.
2 right, actually. I don't get what that means, but anyway. Oh, I see. I don't know. Robert says, I'll take 3-2 to Arsenal. Well, I think we'll all take 3-2 to Arsenal, yeah. I think we all
just sign here, please.
Yeah, exactly. Martinelli to score, says Michael. Yeah, potentially. I mean, the one thing is we have got a goal threat in our team, haven't we? I know we're conceding too many at the minute, but we are likely to score goals, I think. And I don't think Man City's defence is particularly that solid that it can't be broken. I do think we can score. Can we stop them scoring 2 or 3? That's my worry, really, with the way we've been defending lately. But it's a one-off game. Who knows? Anything can happen. 90 minutes, and we've seen it before, and I'm sure we'll see it again. But yeah, I'm not overly optimistic at this moment in time. But I don't care if I'm optimistic or not. That makes no difference to how the team are going to play. And it makes no difference if we think we're going to lose. It's not going to affect the result in any way whatsoever. So don't start coming at us on Twitter saying, oh, you said we were going to lose. That's all negative. It's going to affect the team. No, it isn't, because the team won't listen to this. And even if they did, they don't care. They don't care what we think. If they probably agree that they probably can understand why a lot of us probably feel we're not going to win. But they've got to go out there and prove us wrong, haven't they? That's their job to do that on Wednesday, and that's what they've got to do. So if they are watching, if you are watching, and Mikel and all the guys, if you are watching, and we haven't lost faith in you. We're just not sure you're quite ready to beat Man City at this time. But prove us wrong. Go out there and prove us wrong, and then it'll be great, won't it? And prove Robert right and Loki right and Neil right, and Terry right, who's been predicting victories. Go and prove them right. That's what we want to see. Terry says, I can only see it winning if Zinchenko don't play. Well, if Holding don't play as well, but he will, unfortunately. But there you go. Michael says, agree. We have to be super clinical. We'll get chances. Yeah, we will get chances, and we have to take 1 or 2. Who knows? But we have to be very, very solid at the back as well. We can't afford these individual silly mistakes that we've been making recently, because Man City will definitely make us pay. Robert says, I think with the determination we can win, but close. We need to watch just 2 players, De Bruyne and Haaland. Well, I think it's just more than 2. They've got more than 2 good players at the minute, haven't they? So I think it's we have to be wary of all of them. Craig says, worst teams than us have got results from City this season. Yes, that is very true, because City have dropped points, and every team's worse than us because we're top of the league. So that's absolutely correct. Not too many recently, though. When was the last time they didn't win a game in the Premier League? They've won their last 6 or 7, haven't they? They must have done.
Spurs? Was it Spurs that beat them last? I don't know. We might be talking rubbish.
Well, I don't know. Spurs probably did beat them. Spurs always beat them, don't they? So won't be surprised.
So weird, that, isn't it? How weird is that? Bizarre.
It's just you just get games like that, don't you? You get teams that are like your bogey team, don't you?
Team. Yeah.
It's like the FA Cup final, isn't it? Man United play Man City, and actually Man United have got a decent record against City as well, haven't they? They've won at the Etihad a couple of times recently.
I don't want Man United winning that. No.
Well, no, I don't. But they've got a decent record against them, and like Spurs have. The 2 teams that you'd fancy to get a result against City are United and Spurs, because historically that's what they've done in recent years, haven't they? And we haven't, and that's maybe one thing against us. Emerson says that Martinelli and Saka will have to help out our fullbacks, as Grealish and Mahrez will run them ragged. Well, yeah, we know that's what's going to happen. They do tend to do that anyway, don't they? Martinelli and Saka generally are pretty good defensively, aren't they? They will do their defensive work. Craig said Forest. Yeah, that might be the last time they didn't win, potentially. You might be right. Maybe it was, because it was that 1-1 draw, wasn't it? That Forest scored right at the end. After City missed about 20 chances, didn't they? And then
that's it.
Forest scored an equaliser near the end. Robert says City can take a win for granted, like we did against Southampton. I don't think they will. Southampton were bottom of the league. You would expect to beat them at home. We're top of the league. They're not going to expect to beat us. They want to beat us. They're going to try to beat us. But Loki says we will race into a 3-1 lead and then cling on at 3-2. 2 red cards. Wow. Is that 2 red cards for the same team or 1 red card each? What do we think that you mean by that? 2 red cards. I can't see there being 2 red cards to one team. I think it might be 1 red card each. Rodri and Xhaka might have a bit of a fight, I reckon. That could be quite good, couldn't it? Craig says, I think it was a 1-1 v Forest on the same day we beat Villa away. Well, yeah, it might well have been that. That might have been the last time I did. Exactly. That's a long time ago, though, isn't it? How many games have we played since then? 7, 8 games. So a lot of good wins for them they've had. Terry says, my worry is Haaland don't reach 55 goals this season against us, and he's only on 44. You said we were going to win 5-0 a minute ago. Doug says one red card each. Yeah, I think 1 red card each would be probably right. Robert says, which they will be thinking they beat us 3-1 last time away. Yeah, of course they will, but I don't think they'll be taking it for granted. Pep's not that silly, is he? He hasn't won all he's won by taking teams for granted. He knows what needs to be done to win the games, and that's what he'll set out to do, I'm sure. But I don't know. It is going to be. It's not quite a title decider, is it? Because there's games to play afterwards, points to win and lose. But I kind of agree. I think if Man City win, it gives a massive switch into their favour, and then I do think it's going to be too much for us. A draw, and it could go down to the last game. It really could go down to the last game. And if we win, we've got then. It really is ours to lose after that, isn't it? We look at the games we've got left to play. Yeah, Newcastle away is going to be tough, but all the other games potentially are winnable, aren't they? So if we can win on Wednesday, it's definitely in our hands, and it is ours to lose. But not quite a title decider, but it's going to go a long way to certainly deciding how we feel about the rest of the season. I think, isn't it? The result of that on Wednesday, but. It's going to be exciting, isn't it? And these are the sort of games that you live for. And that's what you said before, Melvin. And you're right. These are the games that we want to be involved in, don't we? Games that are going to be really important title games, aren't they? That we want to be involved in them games at this point in the season and going forward. So yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting game, isn't it, to be playing in? And it's great to have an opportunity that we can go out there, get a win, which is going to put us in such a strong position with such few games left. So yeah, it's a big opportunity. It's an exciting opportunity. It's one that the players can go out and...
Rich. I think about it this way: if it was any other team, say it was Chelsea in our position or Liverpool, or we'd be thinking, why can't that be us? We're actually in it now. It's us.
Yeah.
So
that's
another way. That's another way of looking at it.
Yeah, no, it is. And these are the sort of games that you want to be involved in, don't you? You want your club to be involved in these games. And you obviously want to win them because it's even better. But yeah, these are the games that you want to be a part of, and the fact that we are is fantastic. And let's hope that we still believe that we can still do it after Wednesday night, and we're still in there fighting, and that's what we want to see. And that's all I want. I want to see this team fighting for this league all the way to the end or all the way until it's mathematically
correct.
Every single game to get that over the line and get it won. And starting on Wednesday now, forget what's happened in the last 3 games. Yeah, they're disappointing, frustrating, horrible results, really, when we should have got 9 points and we've got 3. But let's forget that now, that the rest of the season, the title race starts on Wednesday, and we've got a great opportunity, haven't we? It is in our hands to a certain degree. We've got the lead, and we've got to play them. And they've got to beat us. Let's be honest, they have got to beat us. So it's in our hands to stop that happening. We can stop them beating us by making sure that they don't beat us. All the other games, we can't do anything about that. City can win all the other games and we can't stop them, but we can stop them on Wednesday.
Correct.
We've got that opportunity to do it, and that's what we've got to go out and try and do. Everything to try and stop them, whatever it takes. Kick them, whatever you have to do. Stop them from playing, get in their faces, get in the referees' faces, do whatever is necessary. Do what Alex Ferguson did to us. That's what we need to do to them. Put them out of their stride, throw them off, get them angry and frustrated, and get them feeling out like we did after that game at Old Trafford that time. That's how they want to feel afterwards. We can do that to them, and let's give it everything that we've got, and let's go there and do the best that we can possibly do. And who knows, stranger things have happened to us in our history. Stranger things have happened in football. So, Wrexham beat us in the FA Cup. So, there's no reason why we can't go to Man City and win. But let's see what happens. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting night. It's going to be a tense night. And as Melvin said, we'll probably be hiding behind a sofa, peering out from the top every 5 minutes to see what's happening. It's going to be one of them, isn't it? But you never know. If we're 2-0 up after 10 minutes, like we have been in the last 2 away games, we'll probably be quite happy for a little while, won't we? But we'll see. Loki says, win it with 6 games to go. Glad to be in it for a change. Yeah, it's nice to be in it, but it's not so nice if you don't end up winning it, is it? Loki says, up the gunner. As Robert says, it's devastating. I agree, as we also have so many injuries in the women's team. We know we could have won both leagues. Yeah, the women's team's shocking injuries that they've had. Ridiculous. It's just terrible. Terry says, let's hope Arteta remembers he's at Arsenal and not City anymore. Well, yeah, he's never beaten Man City in the league since he left, has he? He's lost every single game against them. He only beat them that one time in the FA Cup, didn't he? That was unexpected, really, wasn't it? That semi-final. So, we can do it. We can do it. But let's just hope that they turn up on the night. That's all we can hope for, isn't it? And if we lose, but we've gone down fighting and we've pushed it all the way for 90 minutes, then yes, it won't be great, but we can accept that. What we won't accept is just a meek surrender to them, like the last few seasons when we've gone up there and just rolled over and let them win. I think as long as we give something. Loki says, a moment for Spurs. Well, yes, indeed, we have to. We can enjoy that a little bit, can't we? I'm not getting too. I didn't enjoy Spurs too much yesterday for the simple fact that we've still got to go to Newcastle. So let's not rub their nose in it yet. What happened to us up there last year? So, let's get that game out of the way first, and then we can maybe enjoy the fact that Spurs got absolutely hammered there. I mean, I must admit, I was watching the women's game obviously yesterday, and the women's game started at 2:30, and was just getting ready for the game, and someone put in the chat, Tottenham are 5-0 down. I'm like, how can they be 5-0 down? They've not even started yet. I forgot the game started at 2:00. How can you be 5-0 down before 2:30? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then I watched it on Match of the Day. It was brilliant, wasn't it? It was just funny to watch, I must admit. But I'm trying to keep calm because we've still got to go there. And I was on the phone today to a guy, and obviously at Newcastle, and I don't know the guy. He was just obviously said to me, he said, "Oh, you sound like you're from London." I said, "Well, yeah, I am, yeah." And he said, "Are you Arsenal or Spurs?" He was hoping I was going to be Spurs so he could really take the piss from yesterday. And I said, "No, I'm not. No." I said, "You're going to have to wait a couple of weeks to take the piss out of me, maybe." But that was quite funny, actually. I quite enjoyed that. He was really hoping. I bet he'd been dying to speak to a Spurs fan all day. And he was waiting to speak to one, but he never got the chance. But, they enjoyed it, didn't they, yesterday? Bless them. Robert says there, what a time for Arteta to beat him. Well, it would be. It would be a great time to get his first league win against Pep, wouldn't it? Would be a great time. But let's see what happens. We can't do anything about it. We just have to sit back on Wednesday and try and enjoy the game, which is going to be probably quite difficult to enjoy it unless we're 3-0 up with 5 minutes to go. Then I probably would enjoy the last 5 minutes, thinking that we might have done it. Robert says there, well, it's time to wear our boot, Spurs on our boots where they belong. Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. But I say I'm not going to get too excited about finishing above Spurs, really. We've got bigger fish to fry, and that's what we're going to focus on, our fish that we've got to fry. So that's that then. Southampton was crap. We know that. We're not bothered. It's finished. It's over and done with. City is going to be tense and exciting, and who knows, maybe glorious as well. So we'll look forward to that. I'll be here on Wednesday for the game, of course. So join me for that. That is going to be good. And then, of course, not much going on at the weekend because there's no games because Arsenal game's been moved to next Tuesday against Chelsea for some strange reason. But anyway, that's that. But I'll be in London. We're going down on Sunday, of course, for the Women's Champions League semi-final on Monday. So we'll be down for that one at the Emirates. So we'll be doing some videos and stuff like that from down there. That's going to be good. So join us for that as well. And then, of course, next week we're away. We're in the Peak District next week for a few days. That's going to be nice. A little walk around the Peak District, as long as it's not chucking it down with rain all the time. Be good. Okay. And then we'll be back for the week after, where the Newcastle game, which is going to be fun as well, isn't it? So we'll see what happens there. Michael says, great show, gents. Well, thank you for tuning in, Robert. Michael's for everyone else, Robert as well. He said, it takes one step at a time to win a top prize. It does, yeah, one game at a time, exactly. Robert says, learn my song and put it up there. Okay, we'll have to learn your song then, yeah. You need to give us a tune. I suppose would be helpful, wouldn't it? Really, but anyway, it's a good song, I'm sure. Anyway, thanks obviously for watching tonight, everybody. Give us a like before you go. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks to Melvin for coming on as always. Have you enjoyed the show? Got it all off your chest. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, I can sleep tonight now, Richard. Thanks very much. All right, Neil. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, gentlemen.
And Neil, have you enjoyed it as well?
Mate, I've had such a great time. I shouldn't be saying it after 3 draws, but I really have. So thank you. Real honoured always to be on, and you've made me laugh so much. And thanks to everyone in the chat. It's been brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it has been good. And Melvin's right. So I must admit, Friday night I couldn't sleep at all. I was just so annoyed and so angry and frustrated. I couldn't sleep at all. Really, really bad. And you know, this is the one thing we love to be in a title race and we want to be in a title race, but the stress it brings you is not nice. It's not a nice feeling, is it? Unless you're 20 points clear. You know what I mean? The rest of it is too stressful, isn't it? It's just far too stressful. But anyway, we'd rather have the stress than not, I guess, wouldn't we? It's only a few.
Richard, I've got to go, but I must ask people in the chat and yourself, anyone. Does anyone want to lift home?
Oh, go away. God's sake.
I think we need
on that. We're going to go.
We need a lift. I think that's a good way. That's a good way to go, Melvin. I like that. That was a good way to go.
Very good, though. Very good.
It was very good indeed. We all need a lift sometimes. Robert says, "I'm waving at the screen." That's fine. You're allowed to wave at the screen. That's not a problem.
Good on him. Good on him.
That's what you're allowed to do. Terry says, "Great show again, Richard, Magic, and Neil. Take care. See you soon. Night all in the chat, indeed." Robert says, "See you guys. Nice one, Melvin, indeed." Yeah. So join us Wednesday. It's going to be fun. I'm sure it's going to be stressful, but we'll enjoy it all together, won't we? We can enjoy the stress together and get through it. You know, we'll all have a group hug at the end and everything. It's going to be great. So join us for that and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will see you Wednesday. Thanks to Melvin, to Neil, and to all you guys in the chat for watching and everything else. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We will see you very soon. And in the meantime, of course, as always, as we always say, come on, you Gunners. Come on. This is it. This is the week to do it, isn't it? This is the week. Let's do it. Real Martinelli. It's now with Granit Xhaka. Is it going to be the third goal? It is the third goal. Granit Xhaka with it. That seals it.